Broadcasting live from the backstretch at Saratoga, this is the Handicappers Report. Brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Handicappers Report alongside Seth, Merrow. I am Anthony Mormino on a beautiful, beautiful Thursday morning. It is delightful. Let's run the races, I like to say from time to time. And all that good quality handicapping in the jump race you gave our audience yesterday for naught.
Oh, I was in here working.
I heard.
We probably
fire drill.
I would say there was about 10 minutes where, had it happened during
The show?
us being on the air, we probably wouldn't have been able to do it because I think it would have been too loud. It was hitting the roof of the tent here, and we had a lake out in front of our control room. It came down. Yeah, half an hour before the first post.
Yeah.
It was rough for the steeplechase side of things.
And I came in this morning, our director was here. I said, it's beautiful. There's not a cloud in the sky. I still put my windows up on the car. I've been coming here too long.
As I got out, I thought mine are down, so that may be a bad sign.
You're a risk taker, Seth, in life. You like a little more conservative in selections, but
I
you're
thought
a risk
about
taker.
it, though. I admit I thought
no
about
way. I said, and I'll tell you the real reasons. I don't want to bother somebody else and have to do it, but I'm like, I've been here too long, seen them rush in, and then that. And I have to say another thing. Either you took it to heart.
No, I just got here later.
You haven't unloaded it yet?
I was sitting working at the computer, and then I realized, I've done that a couple of times with me. But then I got stuck for like 10 minutes with the whole armada of horses going across. So I thought I'll just
reevaluating.
I'll put the essentials out here.
One of our viewers. For those who
it may grow as the morning
here,
when we get a commercial.
Get the first break. Seth will come out with a tome. But for those who don't follow us along every day on the network or YouTube, a viewer mentioned to Seth the disparity between the two of us and the stack of papers. And I did say, for our show now, Seth is, makes James Brown the late James Brown look like a slacker, but. I was like, well, for our show, Seth, it's really kind of a minimalist type thing. But I cannot wait to see what we're going to have after the commercial breaks. But
I have them all right there.
We're off the turf, ladies and gentlemen, except for the Glens Falls as of now. And we'll get to it. And
if folks are in other areas, it came down half an hour before post time. It was shortly after the rain started that they canceled the jump race. You could see that coming. But it was coming down so heavily that they canceled, they moved all the turf races over to the main track pretty immediately as well. And then, so I tweeted something I might be trapped in my tent for a while because it was coming down. And then it stopped and became kind of nice. And I went over to the front side. And then about mid-card, it came down again pretty good. That stopped so I could make it back here at the end of the day. But last night it came down for a while as well. So there was a lot of wet weather yesterday.
Now, what is just, just as an observation, because I'm all for them canceling the jump. Trust me, we have had gigantic rainstorms before. Seth, I can tell you in the 80s, I never remember a jump race being canceled. They always ran them.
Joe Clancy tweeted out, and it's still relatively early in the meet. They want to protect the turf. I get it. Back in the day, there wasn't as much racing.
On the turf.
I get it.
So, I guess they bring it back, right? It was a stakes race.
I don't know whether I heard they will or not. I didn't hear. Point being, I didn't hear that they were bringing it, so I don't know.
The last time we were in that type of situation, we had Joe Clancy helped us out saying, because he's dialed in, obviously, his family, that they, and they were right about the Smith route. They brought it back.
That was a great one.
Right. So we'll see. But it's, I've said there's so many moving parts. If you're just a casual fan, Today'd be a great day to come up to the track. I mean, you know, you're looking at weather, you're betting horses. You might not be as consumed with, you know, off the turf, whether we have scratches or not, and et cetera. But it's a beautiful day to come to the track.
Yeah.
I think the weekdays now are a sensational experience for the casual fan. I just think it's very enjoyable. We're going to have some scratches, you guess. Now, one of the things is they've stopped teasing me at the network because Seth is more diligent about off the turf. And it's not that I'm lazy. I hope that, but it's like my feeling with my picks is if the trainer wants to run the horse, then I'm okay with it that I selected. Because, for example, from everything I saw, Hot Fudge should have been 1-10 yesterday. You know, one person, and I thought in a very journalistic, humorous wrote, thought that maybe it would be a walkover for Hot Fudge. Well, Hot Fudge didn't win.
Yeah.
And I've always said that, you know, we had the day earlier in the meet, Seth, I mentioned, you know, Linda Rice, I thought had a very good chance to have 3 MTOs win. She got 1, I believe, if I remember correctly. And that's the case. But, you know, 2 things I want to point out. One is I am a contrarian because I always say, like, well, if favorites lose 65% of the time, why am I picking them? That's A. B, and I think this is very important for people to know. They don't have to understand, but to know is I'm a vertical player. I don't have to play defensively for the next race to keep me alive for anything. I'm just going to skip the race or et cetera. I'm a trifecta, exacta, and soon to be superfecta player almost exclusively. So to me, I'm like 3 to 5 doesn't help me in almost any chance. So that's why, and I do understand it's different for horizontals. And, you know, it's like, you know, for those who don't know, Seth's second favorite sport is college basketball as an SU alumnus. You know, I think Coach K was the one who first said it. It's like you just win and survive. You just win in advance. You survive in advance. And, you know, you don't get style points, nothing. It's like, so in the pick 5, particularly since it's such a usual bountiful end game, I understand surviving. I understand maybe liking Hot Fudge, but since I don't have the life experience yet, I have to get this child to college. I still am hesitant to think that the numbers say it works out, because this is my attempt at it. And I love our audience. I'm just going to say it. I want my bankroll to be 10,000, and my goal is going to be to make 12,000. And my second goal will be to hit it twice in a year, maybe 3 times, to get that profit. I expect to lose every single time but 3, but at the end, a 20% ROI is stupendous. So that's my whole business model when I eventually get there. It's similar to my trifecta model, but different this way. It's like I expect to lose almost all the time. I'm not taking the road of survive and advance. I want to, you know, pick it off. I've done some, you know, listing and everything. So, you know, basically my goal is to win like 3 on average, $4,000 pick 5s for the whole year.
Yeah.
To come out with 12, invest 10, I'm up 2. That to me is sensational. And for anybody, I mean, that's the way I've looked. That's the way I am. That's my business model going forward.
Yeah, that's interesting. And
thank you.
Well,
that's a compliment.
It's interesting. I think, and I had Matt Miller in here the other day, the contest player, BCBC winner, who wrote the book. And having talked to Matt before and other contest players, the contest players always go in. I was going to bring up in the same theme. They always have a goal that they're shooting for, and I like that. I think
I wake up every morning with a goal.
Most people, I don't know if they come to the
waking
track
up is usually the first one that I check off.
But you come with a bankroll, and I don't think most people think, here's where I'm starting, here's where I want to end up, and I think it's a productive way to think.
They need to do that. You need to do that. If Seth is right, and I think you need to do that. Like you know what? When I
The
used to do
contest guys are interesting though because
well,
they know
very.
historically here's what it's going to take to win the BCBC or the NHC
Right.
or some other
But
live
they
money
also
type of
some
contest.
of them, and I think a large percentage because I've been in that mix now with my friend who won. Is their modus operandi? You know, I've gone to them and had multiple guys on Saturday that had zero.
Yeah.
You know,
yeah.
they just play to a way that's.
Well, Matt is big on. I want to get to the next to the last race or second or whatever with X, and then X is going on my pick in the finale, and I'm looking to.
Well, the guy with Flightline, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get up. Now I will say this: the closest I've been, and sometimes I think you indicate that you remember this. We used to do weekend bankrolls, and I had a case where I had an Adam Rice coming in from Presque Isle in the second race of the first day for me, and I love this horse. And the truth, I had talked about it. I would have, if it had been the last race, I'd have bet it all. But I just couldn't put myself in that position because I'm playing for people. I'm not playing for me. If it was for me, I'm all in with the Adam Rice second, boom. And if I'm out, I'm out. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't handcuff myself. And, that just, way better. But I think this is what I used to do at seminars. And I know you sit in with some people. Our director's going crazy. I'm not going to make the DePaul play of the day, and I'm going to make it in a second. This is what I would tell people, because this sliding scale works. However much you make in a day, $65, $100, $300, whatever you make in a day, if you make that much money at the track, you have shot the moon. That is, you know what shooting the moon is, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, hearts when you get them all.
Oh, okay.
It's called shooting the moon. They all get
the
the points.
I haven't played hearts in probably 40 years.
Okay, so it's just that's a winning day. I mean, it's not. There are lottery bets out there, but if you come up here, that's what I used to tell people. I thought that was a goal, and so that's my goal. That's my business model that I think I'm going to go forward, and that's why I'm laying it out there, because I really think this is going to happen. And I'm just like, when I get there, if I'm still with the network, I can tell you this other part. I am never playing defensively because my goal is to win $3,000, $4,000 ones. I think that's reasonable.
I do too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It means a lot to you. All right. Time for the DePaul play of the day on this beautiful Thursday morning. How many sheets will be on this desk when we return?
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Hi, everybody. Steve Beck back with you for Thursday, the DePaula play of the day. There's somebody looking at me. And they know who it is, so we're gonna go with this tape. Give everybody a good smile on this Thursday afternoon. Of course, the wet weather Wednesday pretty well kind of made things a little nutty. There is a $57,000 pick six carryover from some of the prices, and a price that we're going to look at in the 8th race for the play of the day is Ciccio Bello. Derek Ryan comes back to town with this Bellamy Road gelding, second off a long layoff, and he figures to be a lot tighter than he was in that Monmouth turf race. Goes turf to dirt here, gets the advantageous inside on the Wilson Shoot course, and at 8-1 with Jose Ortiz taking over for Matty Oliver, Ciccio Bello is the play of the day. The DePaula play of the day on Thursday. Good luck, everybody. Talk to you again Sunday. Should be a fabulous Whitney weekend.
The race for savings is going on now at DePaula Chevrolet. Pick your Chevy, pick your payment, and DePaula delivers. Or every Chevy, 0 down payment, 0 first payment, 0 security.
So come join the family and thank DePaula for all your automotive needs.
Ladies and gentlemen, quick note, we are off the turf except for the Glens Falls, and when we get to the 11 furlong former turf race, that'll be run at 10, the other at a mile. Actually, got through the slot positively yesterday. I was saying the week before was horrible for me. Dropped down below the positive ROI for the first time in 2 years. But let's get back on the horse. Claimer 16,000 going 6.
For me, as we move into August, I have it 6-3, the 1 entry, and 5. I'll use Gray Wing on top. I've talked about it quite a bit. I like this class angle. Steps out of state bred allowance and into an open claimer. It's typically a productive angle, and this one coming off a couple of good tries up at Finger Lakes, but before that was on the Naira circuit. So, again, I think it's going to class up nicely in here. Of course, Dylan Davis having a very good meet. Chateau going out for our friends at America's Pastime Stables off the claim, moves up a little bit off the claim, but I think it's a little step up the claim. It's in a huge move, but I don't think it's going to be a big obstacle. I think what we've seen from this horse down the page is clearly going to fit here. And with the early speed, maybe just dangerous to try to speed pop them. And then the 1 entry, Writer's Regret and Charging Arrow. I don't know whether I prefer one or the other on a best effort. I think either one of them move into the mix, but Writer's Regret, I think, second off the claim, another one that is moving probably to a proper level this afternoon. So looking at scenarios with some class moves on all the ones I'm looking at, but I think they're all going to fit nicely. 6-3, the 1 entry, and 5. Now,
coming on the heels, Seth, of the report that was given out yesterday, I thought the term I took from the part of it that I read was moisture. It was too complex for me to understand what they were saying. But the one thing that I know is days like today, Seth, I love because I think it's going to be labeled fast, but there's going to be moisture in the racetrack. That is how I'm going to handicap. And I think that is one of the great maskings of handicapping. Often you'll get teletimer will be kind of quick, etc. These are the type that I believe, but it's kind of as I said, a masking of the moisture in the racetrack. I think can help her. I'm 416, taking that angle right away. We have enjoyed the off going before, and we're first off the claim for Greg DePrima. I think we're live in here with Critical Threat. I'm expecting good things out of this runner. I will also say that often I'm predisposed to liking speed when I think there's moisture in the racetrack and it's tightening up. I think if you can get out there yesterday, speed I thought was not harmful, let's say. On to the second part of the entry. The entry is scheduled to break right next to each other, 4 and 5. And I'll take Writer's Regret. Did you have both the entries, or were you?
Yeah, I used both.
You like both? I have Writer's Regret, and then I have.
I'd probably prefer Writer's Regret slightly.
I have. Yeah, I mean they're. It's a type of situation, and we've had more often than not. I think the couplings I've seen, we both have sort of been comfortable with taking the entire coupling. I don't think that's the majority of the time.
One or two
where there was disparity, and then Gray Wing, Seth's top pick. For Jeffrey Engelhardt for third.
And usually I only feel kind of obligated to parse out if they're the top pick. If they're underneath, I'll kind of stick. But your top pick, I think it's Wesley Ho.
It is.
The jockey, yes. Coming in and riding a Mountaineer.
Good luck finding him on Equibase.
You can. But I tried typing his name in under jockey search, and you're right, it comes up. We don't have it. But if you look at the entries, he's listed as an entry and his name is clickable and you can't get his stats there.
Because that's how it should work. They're not funded enough.
But I can't figure out. It seems like it's automatically when you go to the search that would.
Don't get me started on.
Second race this afternoon.
And I want to say something. You should understand that I am rooting for Equibase to be great. I take my shots at it because I want them to be great for the sport.
Well, like I say, in this, to me, it's like an automatic. I couldn't see why somebody would have to change anything. It seems like it should. But the second race this afternoon, maiden specials, scheduled for 5.5 on the grass. But again, everything off the grass except for the stake today.
Even greater guesswork now. You would think, is the 1 staying in? Is the 8 staying in? Does the 9 coming in matter that much? I'm like, I enjoy it. My motto is more chaos, the better. I will say I'm 4-3-6, and I'm comfortable staying here. Summerfront and Austrian Warfront. Now, this is my attitude. Christophe Clement, excellent trainer, been on the ballot for the Hall of Fame the last couple of years. If Christophe thinks we can go, I'm okay. Let's go. As a grandson of Warfront, I have Beer Run. If Wesley Ward wants to stay in for a horse who's exclusively turf sprinted, I'm okay with that too. The horse I will touch on a little bit, though, ironically, if you're comfortable, guys, you can put up the chicklets for me. I'm comfortable with 4-3-6. I know you saved my bacon by this, but Speed Figures, not because of the name, intrigues me. Now, here's the caveat. Seth, who's going to Woodbine next month, this super speedy stallion at Woodbine, he is the Uncle Mo and Tappet rolled into one on their synthetic. So I don't know how it will play, but I just wanted to get. I mean,
I had him on turf, that I haven't used him on dirt.
And I'll tell you one thing, and this is just anecdotal. Live Oak Plantation, who is super speedy, they a fair amount of times it's their silks racing the offspring of super speedy. Yeah. So they are fully vested. 4-3-6 for me.
And again, if you're looking at Speed Figures, there were a couple of siblings. Super with an O, Super Legacy won his career debut. Super Fortune 4th, 2nd, then won the 3rd start. That was my top pick on the turf. But as you suggested, I'm not sure how that's going to necessarily translate to dirt or will stay in. We'll see. On dirt, I went 2, 9, and 4. I put Zecca Diabo on top. Mostly dirt recently, and I thought the dirt starts were okay, so they may be benefiting from the surface switch. Second spot, I went to the MTO just because they are definitely getting what they wanted, and then I did put Summer and Aaron in the 3rd spot for Christophe Clement with some decent dirt works, and there were some siblings that won early in the career, so I thought that one, if we stick in, would be interesting as well. In the 2nd, on dirt, 2, 9, and 4.
And it's not this race that we just did, and I'm through Saturday now, but there's a race we're going to go over either tomorrow or Saturday where there's a horse that I feel very confidently is hoping the race comes off the turf. Because we've talked about this before where you're like, I think they got the race they wanted.
Fudge, I think
you think
fell in that category. Yes.
All right, on to the 3rd, as we said, off the turf. This one, though, because of the configuration of the racetrack, will be shortened up to 10 furlongs. Optional claimers 2X.
I went out to the MTOs and used a bunch of them, but I have one in the body of the field. But I put the 10 Movie Moxie on top. 10, 3, 8, and 9 on the dirt. Movie Moxie. Last race wasn't a whole lot, but I think it's a little touch of class relief. Linda Rice, clever, playing the main track only game, and I think this one will be well spotted with the surface switch this afternoon. Underneath, I went with peak popularity. Entered in the body of the field by Chad Brown for Klarovich. But most of the races have been on dirt, and I think the dirt races are stack up with the horses who probably will remain in, or the MTOs. 3rd spot, Ichiban. First couple of starts of 2024, I thought were okay. And again, they get the surface they want for trainer Linda Rice. So I have it on dirt 10, 3, 8, and 9.
Boy, did I make a mistake for the team and the TU today. My opinion on this race is that in the main body, the 3 and the 7 are your best candidates to stay in. I think the 1, the 2, the 4, the 5, and the 6. I'm going to be surprised if they stay in. That's just my feeling on it. I agree with you. I think if you look at the MTO strongly, but for me, peak popularity would be the one that I'd want to slide in. I mean, we've been in this role before with Ichiban the other day. And one thing I'll say about Movie Moxie that does not have me intrigued, and I like people. Boy, I'll tell you, if it comes up short field, Seth, I want to be on the lead. I want to be on the lead with these runners. I want to take my chances to lead all 10 furlongs and let Movie Moxie do the work and try and beat me at probably. You have to think that movie Moxie and Ichiban are going to stay in, and they're going to be, even money 6-5, maybe even lower. But peak popularity, the 3, who is the one of the 2 in the main body that I'm guessing would stay in. It was, Seth, I thought it was going to be a terrific 7-horse field turf race. I'm not so sure what we're going to get as a 10 furlong dirt race. The MTOs figured to dominate the wagering, but peak popularity intrigues me in that race.
All right, time now for the dark horse play of the day. I'm going to go to race number 6. We'll see. It was a turf race. We shall see if it holds up. But there's a dirt start. The dirt start wasn't much. But I have a feeling that was maybe first start of the career kind of a thing. And maybe the horse just got better with experience. But as I've been doing throughout the meet, if I do have a horse that scratches, I will put up on Twitter a revised dark horse play of the day, and the guys will put it out on TV during the afternoon. But I'll stick with Richard Avenue, despite the surface switch. Todd Pletcher, Mike Rapoli, third start by McKinsey. McKinsey, we talked about this one just a few days ago as having a quirky kind of, I think at that point, 10 first-time starters, no wins but 5 seconds. Well, now 14 first-time starters, 2 wins. And they were both Saturday. They were Saturday and Sunday, the 2 wins. So McKenzie getting to what was kind of hinted at with the early first-time runners. So McKenzie on top. This one has had a couple of starts, improved a little bit in the second career start. I'm going to hope that was more experience than the surface. So I'll take a little pop with this one in the 6th race. Horse number 4, Richard Avenue, as the dark horse play of the day, brought to you by our friends at the Dark Horse Mercantile and Impressions of Saratoga, both on Broadway in downtown Saratoga.
All right, take a quick break. When we come back, a pick 4.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
It only takes one upset to make history, and now you can be part of Saratoga's long tradition at the Dark Horse Mercantile. The Dark Horse Mercantile offers a carefully curated selection of clothing, gifts, and home decor, from one-of-a-kind vintage racing memorabilia to select brands like Barber and Under Armour, as well as exclusive Dark Horse branded merchandise. So celebrate the Dark Horse in all of us at the Dark Horse Mercantile, downtown Saratoga, where the smart bet is always the Dark Horse. Welcome back to the Handicappers Report on this Thursday morning, sunny Thursday morning after a wet Wednesday. All races off the turf except for the stake today. And I didn't do it in the first segment, so let me update you on promos and events coming up at Capital OTB. Today at the Clubhouse Racebook, it's the $100. Throughout the today, tomorrow, and Saturday, there are plenty of fun Clubhouse events. Kicking it off today with the $100 play the board. Tomorrow, it's the Knockout Challenge at the Clubhouse Racebook. And Saturday, it's the relatively new King of the Hill contest down there. So should be a lot of fun over the next few days. Play the board today, Knockout Challenge on Friday, King of the Hill on Saturday, all at the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue in Albany. Saturday, also, the Bounty Bet returns. Don't forget, you can take your shot at the Bounty just by playing the final pick five at Saratoga with your Capital OTB bet account. So make sure to give it your shot on Saturday. Sunday, the $150 pick 3 bankroll. We'll be back at it on Sunday. Entries will open online for the bankroll tomorrow, right around noontime, capitalotb.com. Let me also alert you that coming up top of the hour, Racing Across America should be fun. Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum, our weekly visit from the Racing Forum team. We'll talk a little bit about review and preview some stakes with Mike Welch. Brian Boyer from the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame will join us because tomorrow, Hall of Fame induction. So I thought we could talk a little bit about that. Also, what's coming up at the Museum of Racing over the next month. And a little bit later on, Jay Provenzano will join us from Flying P Stable. Jay is off to a great start at the meet. From the stats I was looking at Equibase, he's currently top of the owner board. So we'll talk with Jay a little bit later on as well. That's all 10 o'clock Racing Across America. But now, fourth race at Saratoga this afternoon. State-bred optional claimers, non-winners of 2 other than 3/4 of a mile.
So if you have a horse who's valued at $45,000, you get to run for the lion's share of about $55,000-$60,000.
Yeah.
So greater than the asset that 468 for me. Jack and Bernie, finger leg shipper, making the 3rd start of the season. The first 2 were outstanding. I have to say, Seth, you don't often see these buyer speed figures at the Flakes coming in. These are impressive and working out for this, but I'm all in on Jack and Bernie. Fortune's nephew, the 6th, Bruce Levine's runner. That's first time at this level going 6. Raced very well, and then off the turfer, less well. There was a regression. I'm looking for a forward move off of that. And Caldo Candy on the outside, Jimmy Bond's runner, just won the 1X by daylight. Now tries this for the first time. 2nd start since March. 1 up here at Belmont Stakes weekend. And it's not in my mix, but it's not because of the layoff on Key Point, who's been off 23 months. That does not worry me. I just prefer others.
I'm with Jack and Bernie, too. I mean, it comes in from the Finger Lakes. But it's hard to ignore what this horse has done so far. 6 wins in 8 starts, and in 2024, 2 very nice wins, all on the front end. I think this is going to be a catch-me-if-you-can kind of a scenario. 2 starts back, 1 at the 6 furlongs up at the Finger Lakes in a little stakes race. So Jack and Bernie looks logical. 2nd spot, Caldo Candy for Jim Bond, off a couple of nice improving efforts the end of March and then early in June. That June race was a lifetime best buyer win. Had some experience at that non-winners of 1 level. 2 starts back, benefited from that experience with the win last time. I think should fit nicely with these. And then Key Point in the 3rd spot. Hasn't been seen in a long time, but yeah, there was some talent shown earlier. So I would think would be ready coming from Brad Cox and could be very interesting with that, again, that early talent that we saw. I have it 4, 8, 7, and 1.
On to the 5th, state-bred fillies and mares. Maiden Claimer is going 6.5.
5, 4, 3, and 2. Number 5, Dancing Liana. I like the cutback. All of the races so far, 3 of the races at 7, which included the latest start, and then 2 starts back was at a mile. Bunch of second-place finishes, so you have to wonder if we aren't stuck in a little bit of a bridesmaid kind of a situation. But I think the cutback of a half a furlong today will be beneficial. So I'll tilt slightly in that direction. Ariana Rye could be the one to beat. Maiden special weight to maiden claiming, little turf to dirt move. I think there's some things to think this one is awfully intriguing this afternoon. And then Going for Glory. Been facing this kind over the past few starts, and like the top pick has kind of been knocking at the door, hasn't gotten it done, but seems like a cozy fit with this particular group as well. I have it 5, 4, 3, and 2.
My exact is similar to Seth. I took a flyer in 3rd. I will note that Ariana Rye, first time in for a tag. Also, Mary Union Avenue, who isn't on my list here, the 9, but that's probably a mistake on my part because I'm starting to worry on the outside with good early speed and moisture that Katie Davis might get another W. Won yesterday off the turf and down the road, and then Mia Nipatini is a long shot play for me. I just that has the one race on the off going was down inside at the break there. Now will be on the outside, which I like more. There's more, I believe strongly, even by 5 o'clock, there'll be moisture in the racetrack. 5, 4, 8.
Race number 6, again, was scheduled for the turf at 1 mile and a 16th. We're now going over to the main track in this one. We're looking at state-bred maiden specials.
They'll go the mile, so it's a little bit different. The MTOs, well, you're guessing, and you're probably going to guess at a short price with those two. And I was guessing with my top pick. I'll be intrigued to see if George Weaver stays in. The workouts would indicate to me, heck, I'd give it a try for 90,000. I am 1, 7, and 6. Dignified Response. Terrific naming there. Luis Saez working his way out of the slow start. For second, Ori. I like the debut. That was on the turf. I'll be intrigued to see if they stay in, adding blinkers today, and then Shoot the Waves from Mike Maker. They're adding blinkers after a nondescript debut with a steady at the start, reporting the form 176.
And again, my dark horse play of the day was Richard Avenue. We'll see if that one sticks in. If so, I'll stick with it. But if it changes up, I'll redo. Because I will say, on dirt, I pretty much kept it the same, but I couldn't ignore Real Savvy from Christophe Clement. They get what they want as an MTO. I thought there was a little bit of breeding there, so I went with that one on top. Then Richard Avenue in the second spot, as I said, being by McKenzie. A little bit of win early, and I kind of liked the stretch out. And it's still a stretch out, but I like that scenario here. And as I say, I'm hoping maybe if the horse does stay in, that improvement last time was experience versus the surface. We'll see. And then in the third spot now on the dirt, I have it McDiesel. There was a sibling called Basis Risk that won in the second start of the career. There's another sibling called Spa Ready, won its career debut by Twirling Candy. This is a win early type and did very well in the debut, running a close-up second as the favorite. So if they stick in, McDiesel also dangerous to me. I have it 12, 4, 3, and 6.
And by the way, before we go to break, I looked over your 12-horse field in the Whitney. You know how you like to write on the top comments? I didn't write it, but I was thinking impossible. As a handicapper, I just had to stop. I'm like, I'm gonna get nowhere. I mean, it's unbelievable depth for a 12-horse field, in my opinion. Take a quick break. When we come back, the late pick 4.
Want to get your career in horse racing off to a fast start? Well, the University of Arizona's Racetrack Industry Program is your winning ticket. The Racetrack Industry Program has served as a springboard to some of the industry's most successful individuals, with a proven track record of job placement right out of college. If you want to earn a degree in the exciting horse racing industry, the Racetrack Industry Program can put you in the winner's circle.
A day at the track isn't complete without a night at the Horseshoe. Great food, hot music, and cold drinks. So why go downtown when all the action's just across from the track? The Horseshoe Inn at the corner of Nelson and Gridley.
Capital OTB is now streaming live on Roku. The RTN Racing channel on Roku lets you watch OTB TV live through your Roku device or your Amazon Fire Stick, rather than being limited to computers and mobile devices, which means you can now watch OTB live wherever you are. Simply open Roku, scroll to find the RTN channel, then click on OTB TV. OTB TV on Roku. Try it now.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Handicappers Report coming to you live from the backstretch of Saratoga on a beautiful Thursday morning. And I've decided I don't like lid lifter very much. I like meat opener. The 7th race, Seth, is my nomination to almost always be the meat opener.
Well, you made that point before.
A starter
That's a good
allowance.
idea.
I'll take 1 mile and 3/16 or 1 mile and a quarter for the fans up in the grandstand.
And they do the 1 1/8 miles supposedly for the fans, which is good.
Yeah.
But yeah, you go up the track, all the fans are involved.
Yeah. And not only that, you're not starting on the turn. This you get a little run into it. So starter allowance going 9.5. I'm not so sure. I do not think Winter's Tale Stakes track record, excuse me, it's gonna be tested.
3, 2, 6, and 4. I put on a spree on top. Horses coming in from Churchill have done okay. This one comes in from Churchill after a couple of starts at Oaklawn. Moved it from Oaklawn, an Oaklawn win to end the Oaklawn season for this horse, and then showed up at Churchill and put a win in. That win at Churchill was on a sloppy track, so if we do have some moisture, I'll tell you what, though, with sun and a little breeze by the 7th race, I don't know, but we did get plenty of rain yesterday, so if there is some moisture in the racetrack still at 4:30, this horse may benefit.
A couple years ago, they made it deeper, the track.
They made what?
It deeper, like they
Oh,
safer.
could be. Yeah. Why do you assume that is going to hold more?
Yes, that's in
I just on a day like this, though. It
is.
Although I will say, it is again a little bit humid.
Short of helicopters being over the racetrack, this is best case scenario.
A little humid is not going to help. But second spot, complete agenda, turf to dirt move. The dirt race 2 back was certainly going to compete with this bunch. Turf race, not so much. But again, I like the move to maybe get back to what we saw a couple of races ago. And St. Andrews in the 3rd spot comes in off a second place finish down at Belmont at Aqueduct, was claimed out of that race. And I think if you just look at the last few and down the page a little bit, this horse is going to be a fit with this bunch. I have it 3, 2, 6, and 4.
2, 6, 3 for me, as you see on the board, Seth and I. This similar type of thing. I will tell you, Seth, the separation for me was Flavien Prat. He's just, in a move. We're down inside, going 1 mile and 3/16. We have from time to time shown a little bit of forwardness. I'd like to see that. I have St. Andrews in second, first off the claim, and on a spree, but see it strikingly similar. 2, 6, 3.
8th today, again, optional claimers with the non-winners of 2 condition going for $100,000 in the 8th. They will go the 1-turn mile.
2, 4, 3 for me, and Shadow Dragon. Is that us again? Very similar, but Shadow Dragon, 3rd race of the season, both starts, very, very good building blocks. Yes, the beaten favorite and even money in the last. That was going the 1-turn mile down at Aqueduct, but Army Mule, as a stallion, what was he, 3 for 3 in his life? I know he had the layup. I think right. 3 for 3. Jackson Heights, big price in here with Dylan Davis, coming out of a, throw-out effort for me to Kingston, although that turned out to be a good off-the-turf prep race. But before that, won the 1X. This will be the first time at this level. Comes from out of the clouds east, and then Dr. Kraft for Chris Engelhardt. Good effort in last. I might better this rating for the 3. I see you have a second place finish, but I might better it.
2, 3, 10, and 7. I put Shadow Dragon on top. Finished just behind Cut the Cord last time, and Cut the Cord is in here as well. I did not use Cut the Cord, and I may regret that, but I thought the post position kind of warranted where I went. Second spot, Dr. Kraft comes in good form for Chris Engelhardt off some mile races downstate. And then again, you just look down the page. It's been a while since this horse has missed the board. So comes in good form, seems logical. Baldassar in the 3rd spot. Lightly raced runner for Jim Bond. The early part of the career showed some promise and then sat off for quite a long time, came back in May, and I thought the comebacker was okay. We'll have to improve on that and get back to what we saw earlier, but it doesn't seem like that's out of the question. But again, we'll have to work out a trip going the mile from the 10 post. I have a 2, 3, 10, and 7.
We'll take our final break. When we come back, the late daily double.
For more than 4 generations, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued the 102-year tradition of delighting their local following and faithful summer crowd with the finest authentic Italian recipes. Classic Italian dishes made with the freshest ingredients, served in a home-like setting. Some things have changed in the last 102 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Sometimes it pays to go with the flow, to check your worries at the door, to reconnect with your crew, to follow the thrills and the flavor, to roll with it and see where it takes you, to enjoy every minute to its fullest, and to dance like there's no tomorrow. You can do that here at Rivers Casino and Resort Schenectady, where the good times flow.
The only thing better than watching the races is watching your own racehorse. With nearly 20 years experience in the racing industry, Bonaventure Stables' share-based ownership program enables everyday fans to become part owner of a thoroughbred for far less than you might think, with all the ownership perks at Saratoga, Belmont, Aqueduct, and other great tracks. Experience the thrill and lifestyle of owning your own thoroughbred racehorse. Learn more at bonaventurestables.com.
And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. The Handicappers Report coming to you live from Clare Court as we see the James Bond Flotilla Armada just make its way
for about the third time this morning.
Yes, we've seen both rides. He might have more, but this was not the decked out one. This was the traditional golf cart with the underlings, Jimmy's underlings, because Jimmy has the decked out one, actually, what was it called? Third row seating. On
one
Jimmy's.
drove by me the other day. I was walking from the front side, and somebody drove by with empty seats. And again, neighborly kind. Although yesterday Dino and I drove, he gave me a ride.
Did you get the ride? They give you the ride?
No. I say they drove by me.
Oh, okay, I missed that. So.
But Dino,
what's up with that?
Dino drove me yesterday to the front side because I'm trying to avoid the rain. And we went by somebody and tried to be neighborly, and she was having none of it. She didn't want the ride. Like, okay. But we tried to be neighborly.
I have, yes,
but what I was going to
listen. I've said no. People have asked me for time. I've said no.
Really?
Yeah, because I enjoy as long as it's not one of those days. I enjoy the walkover.
Okay. But man, I was going to say a cart went by me the other day that was like, it was a cart, but it was borderline being a car.
Okay.
It was just it was all like it was strange. I'd never seen anything like it, but it was definitely a cart, but it had all the makings of an actual car.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay, 9th race day scheduled to go at 5:45. As of now, this one is on the turf. I'll be interested to learn how the turf is labeled. 12 furlongs, fillies and mares.
I would think it's not out of the question. It'll change during the day, certainly. But again, for me, 3, 6, 7, and 5, chop on top. In a competitive race, I just slightly tilted towards chop. I went back to the Bewitched. Nice win at Keeneland that I thought kind of showed that the talent of this horse. Subsequent races were okay. They were second place finishes in the Kirtana and the Robert G. Dick Memorial down at Delaware, and they were good efforts. Frankie Dettori on board. Again, I tilt slightly here because I think it's competitive. Atomic Blonde in the second spot for Christophe Clement and our friends at West Point. Nice win, 2 back in the Kirtana. Again, just ahead of Chop. Last time ran 4th behind Chop in the Robert G. Dick. So we'll see how these two shake out. And then McCulloch in the 3rd spot for Chad Brown. Had the win to start the season. The subsequent 2 starts, they were okay. I wasn't quite sure what to do with that one. Eternal Hope goes out for Charlie Appleby. Flavian Prad on board might wind up being the one to beat. I just thought a couple others were maybe a little more interesting. 3, 6, 7, and 5.
A couple things. I love the race. The 3-turn turf races I love. And I know this will sound funny. You figure you're going 12 furlongs, but you watch enough of these races, and here's an interesting one. I'm sure the camera doesn't exist. You know how we kind of get like the camera kind of shoots and we're behind the starting gate for this. You have to watch the head-ons replay because I think the head-on would be better for an opening shot for the 12 and the 11 furlong turf races, just like we have the mile races where you get the shot down the lane that I wish they'd stick with for like 5 more seconds. But I think it'd be real. And I know this, but I like being inside. Some guys get parked outside and it's like, it matters. Every inch matters to me. I'm 1, 7, and 3. I was a dope. The 5 would be next. I mean, I know Charlie Appleby doesn't win every race, but his horses usually show up to a degree higher than my non-rating here. But Alpha Bell, I just thought the race was, very competitive. I draw inside. I have Luis Saez. I suspect with this good post position, I believe that we're going to get a nice trip around. We'll see if we're good enough, long enough at a big price. For a second, I'm on the outside. Mikulik, who has beaten me more often than not, but almost always is a short price in New York, gets all the worst of it on the outside. I know it's relevant to me, and then chop for a third. I think it's a very interesting race. I said this, last summer when the Flower Bowl came up with Dylan Davis and Parnak. It's like, we'll just go to the front, and he made it look easy. He made it look one of the most prestigious turf races. But I love this race. It's wide open. I took a price, Alpha Bella.
10th and final today, we are looking at state-bred maiden claimers. Again, it was scheduled for a mile and 16th on the turf, but they moved to the main track.
I might not be going home as quickly as I thought.
Oh.
2-1-12, ladies and gentlemen, as we go a mile. I've said it before. Now, here's an interesting thing, Seth. I don't think do they let 12 run the mile? Well, they're going to have to, I guess, right? That buddy's going to be parked way outside here.
That's a good question.
That's going to be very interesting to see what it looks like if they all stay in. I don't suspect they're all going to stay in. Once again, one of my favorite parts is to handicap who's staying. What's it? A good 8 hours and, 26 minutes away from this race. But maybe the 2 doesn't stay. Maybe the 3 doesn't. You go on and on. But 12 going a mile would be it would be interesting. I know one thing. I don't know them, but the rules have to already be set.
Yeah.
So somebody smarter than me and more dialed into that type of thing knows what it is. But I thought 10. But so Starlight Dancer, who this race, I'm glad the guys are keeping it down because as I just said, I think it's going to be one of the first ones to come out. I'm not so sure the MTOs, which figure to be parked outside, have this race over a barrel. I don't know if you feel as if they do.
I went to the MTOs, but with a total lack of confidence.
I would say for me, I want speed. I want to be up front and going. And if Pamplona Red has that for Tom Morley and they choose to stay in, that would be intriguing to me. But I think this field is going to be very much hurt by scratches, and I don't see a lot of speed. I think the MTOs, Welcome Back Babe is going to be on the outside. It will be heck to pay. We'll see. Irad, gets on the engine and uses early energy to not get parked wide. See if he has to pay the price at the end.
15, 1, 14, and 3 for me. Welcome Back Babe has some early speed and likely to use it, and they're getting what they want, being a main track only. Miss Leao has a little dirt form that seems okay and was against maiden specials, so may also benefit from the surface switch. Malibu's Dynamite, MTO runner that should go okay. Bomb Squad has all turf, but if they stay in, there were some dirt workouts that were okay. Again, I lack confidence in here, but I'm 15, 1, 4, and 13.
I think it's really logistics for us. I mean, if we had the scratches, we could go at it, and that's one of the great things about the game: altering, moving, and grooving. You talk about not being married to pick 3 selections early in the day, and as I said, I'm usually comfortable if the trainer decides that they want to run. I always wonder if they think it based on who the MTOs are.
I would think that would play into it, certainly.
That's a little tough hill to climb. Sometimes the MTOs aren't that threatening to me. Sometimes they're like, oh, this is going to be a problem with those two.
Yeah, I'm just curious. What did David Aragona? One of the MTOs 8-1, and one's 5-2.
Right.
So maybe he's not.
David's, he's who's staying or going. I mean, that's really, he's in an impossible position, which is why we never talk about the odds off the turf races.
We have a minute here, so I'm just going to mention this because I'm looking. I had somebody ask me yesterday or the day before, and I've had other people ask me in other years, and I always laugh. People say, "Is that real behind you?" And I get it. If you look at the picture, there's kind of a sheen
got a
to
moving
it.
part there.
But people think maybe it were superimposed.
Oh,
it is real.
well,
And for people who don't know, if I hit the curtain, it may, I don't know if you'll see. Yeah, I'm hitting it. You're not really seeing. But there was a mesh screen behind us. That's why it looks a little bit different. We do that because you can see the sun coming through the trees. If we didn't have that screen, it would just blow out behind us with the sun. So there's a mesh screen back here.
We are live at Claire
that makes
Court.
it look a little bit different than if it was wide open there. But the horses are 10 feet away from us. And
this is the quiet time of day at a racetrack. Usually I'm usually trackside 8:30. I kind of consider myself late. So between 8:15 and 8:30, I'm usually here. And it's the finale. And, I've said this a couple times. I almost exclusively in my life have come to the track getting off 13N, and I come up Nelson Avenue. Now working, I do all the time. So the morning is wrapping up. If I get there by about 8:10 to 8:15, Linda Rice, Todd Pletcher, and Chad Brown, not Charlie Bakers, are coming off the track, and the day's wrapping. And by the way, I got it wrong. I said 5 years. I was wrong. It was 10 years ago, the one time that the Whitney had a higher purse than the Traverse Stakes, and then they kind of wiped that out. But it was 10 years ago, 2014, not 2015. I knew it was
but it
before
is
that.
real behind.
It is real. It's very real.
If we were doing video behind us, there'd be horses working there all the time.
Oh yes, that would be.
There'd be a lot more activity back
So who
there.
do you have for the good people?
Mike Welch from the Daily Racing Forum. We'll do a little preview and review of some of the stakes action. Brian Boyer from the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. It's Hall of Fame Day tomorrow over at the museum. Well, actually at Fasig-Tipton. But we'll also catch up on some of the events coming up at the museum this month. And then Jake Provenzano from Flying P Stable, currently at the top of the leaderboard on the owner's side of things. Had a great last week, 4 wins last week. We'll talk about that more with Jake coming up in just a couple of minutes on Racing Across America.
I know an owner that won 2 races on New Year's Day one time, leading owner in the country. Still talks about this. How many? You think it's been more than 20 years they haven't done it at the Hall of Fame?
That sounds probably right.
Might even be more than that.
It was a good move, obviously.
Absolutely. All right. He stays, I go, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoy this outstanding Thursday of racing.
This has been the Handicappers Report, brought to you by CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier online wagering site in New York State. CapitalOTBBet.com. Sign up today. And the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook.